Hello, my staratlas family, and a big third-year anniversary. Happy celebrations to everyone in Aethia. Now, Aethia is one of the leading DAX in staratlas, if not the leader. I think we can actually go and look at the DAX statistics on the flip side dashboard and see that we pretty much dominate a lot of things in staratlas. But anyway, happy anniversary to everyone in Aethia. So today, this is going to be a very short video. What do I want to chat to you about? Aethia's third-year anniversary, of course. Some small ship, small player statistics to see how you're going, what profitability we should be working with, as well as just looking at some concept art and, of course, the Cataclysm game, which I think is pretty important. And I'll shout out to a small community member who made something for me. So let's get started, my friends. Let's go. First off, I saw a really nice picture in the Star Atlas Discord, and I don't know who this was from, but you guys who make these beautiful pictures, thank you so much. Look at it. It just looks gorgeous. You're just sitting there enjoying your time in Star Atlas. I don't actually know how he got that sitting animation to look like that, because there isn't a sit animation as far as I'm wearing UE5. But anyway, it was really good, right? Now, this is something I wanted to highlight with you guys. So this is from the Star Atlas team themselves. They're saying this is from concept art to the early stages of bringing something to life. Now, this is the Oni CSS station, right? And this is the concept art. And sometimes when I was younger, I used to really enjoy concept art because it gave me lots and lots of hope of, oh, it's going to look this amazing. Oh my God. I didn't really understand the concept of concept art, but now that I do, I'm like, yeah, okay, I know that's concept art. It's not going to look anywhere like that. Okay. It looks really pretty. It looks really good, but no. So that's not to say I don't think this looks pretty or what the outcome of this looks like, but let's just have a look. So you have a look at this concept art. It does look nice, right? It looks nice shading, something in the foreground, something in the background. But of course, once you start creating these assets, you see that it doesn't quite look the same, right? All the trees are the same color, the mountains and things in the background are there. It's like maybe 50% complete. The shading isn't there, the lighting isn't there. There's lots of stuff that still needs work. And you see here, these are all the little CSS habs that people probably have now or will be able to bid and auction on later on down the road. So it's very interesting. You should be able to walk around the things that you're auctioning and things that you're bidding on. I think that's what Michael said before. So yeah, look at that. All of these little houses, probably CSS1 habs. So this is still early work in progress. I definitely acknowledge that. There's a long way to go still between what this looks like now and what the concept art looked like before. But still, they have the general model there. Right? So it ain't gonna lie, it still looks okay. It looks okay. But for me, a lot of work still to go. But that's development, right? It takes a lot of time. So yeah, very interesting. So that was that. I'm very happy I saw that. Very insane. Now, let's go to Aethia, my friends. Again, happy third year anniversary to everyone in Aethia. 2 new videos have been released, and I just wanted to tell you about them very quickly so that you can get some benefit from it. The first one is just got released literally like less than 12 hours ago. That was how to play Star Atlas or how to play Starbase as a small player. Now this is actually very interesting. I think most people have seen this video because it's been circulating, but it's only just gone public.
Entertaining.
So basically this is Victor going through the data on the flip side dashboard, how you should maneuver yourself, what you should be looking at, how calculations are made, etc. And I managed to record this myself and actually ask some really great questions. And
using a lot of transactions.
Really now,
so if you would just do that weekly, then you would still reach instead of 148%.
So I think it's a really good watch if you haven't seen it. Next thing is actually the interview I've done with Michael Wagner. My friends, I want to reflect on this a little bit. It's been 3 years of me making content in Star Atlas, and this is the first time I've actually gotten a chance to sit down with Michael and ask him some questions. I'm going to be honest, I was very hesitant about it because, Michael talks a lot and he's a good orator. And I generally like to get to the point. If I say something's bad, I'm going to say it's bad. Okay, I'm not going to flirt around it. So I didn't want to offend Michael at all with the way I speak. So I preempted the whole thing. I gave him a little spiel beforehand. But he was good. He was very amenable. He was open to having a really transparent, a productive conversation. And you can't ask much else from an interview like that. So we touched on a whole bunch of different topics. Some of the topics were sourced from the community, from Aphia Discord, and some of them were sourced by myself. Some of them were sourced from Funcracker. So let's
back
see
with
some
Michael
of the
Wagner.
So
this time we're going to have
update,
a
like
really awesome interview with Michael from Staratlas. So Michael, I want to say thank you.
I asked them, you're going, when Staratlas started, you're going in so many different directions. Like you're doing this, but now you even stopped the browser-based game and you're just doing UE5. That seems to be like the major focus, right? And everything is building into UE5. So it's like all of this whole time we've been doing all this other stuff, but now you're doing one thing. How did that happen? How did you come to that? And of course, his reasoning was, you're in the darkness. When you start this sort of stuff, you're like, yes, we think we can do all this, and it looks like we can do all this, but then you start doing it, and you're like, no, we can't actually do it. What do? You have to pivot to one thing. So yeah, it's hard to see out of the darkness when you're in there. So yeah,
thank you, man, for coming on, giving us your time. Just about 45 minutes, maybe around 1 hour. Hopefully not more than that. We're going to talk all about Staratlas, right? We're going to chat about what's happening in the game. We're going to talk about the macro,
topics on transparency with the community, timelines,
grow in Staratlas. But first off,
the next one,
Michael, how are you, man?
What's ecosystem? I was very interested to find out why we're being shunned in Solana. Now, he didn't quite agree that we're being shunned. He gave good points that he says before, that Solana doesn't want to give specific attention to one game or another, or one project or another. But I think, which is true, which they don't want to do. But at the same time, when you're the biggest thing on their blockchain, not the biggest thing, but perhaps Jupiter is probably the biggest thing, but the biggest game on their project, something, do an interview or something, for God's sake. I don't think it's that hard, So yeah, I didn't think we're being shunned, but I feel like we're not getting as much love as we should be. Like all of the hackathons should be using, or like we should be in the hackathons kind of thing, Anyway. Next thing was ship crafting and future plans. That was interesting. Nothing crazy there. Crafting and manufacturing different asset classes. Delayed release of Crew app. And transparency for surrounding Titan sales. The big problem with this was, I said Staratlas is all about transparency. I said the word so many times, but all of a sudden you have these ships. They're just ships. They just happen to be Titans. And no one knows how much they got sold for, right? No one knows what price it was, 5 million, 1 million, there's not a payment plan. No idea. We're just guessing at this point, So I'm like, why? Does that actually make sense? And then he gave good reasons. You're still a normal company. We get to make these decisions. We want to be transparent, but it's agreed on by both parties that no, it won't be transparent for this. So, and that's it. It's take it or leave it. That's unfortunately how it is. But guys, you can't blame anyone for this. This is how companies work, right? They get to make the decision. And back in my mind, I'm like, it doesn't matter how much polis you have. If the team is not going to disclose how much they sold the Titan for, you're not going to find out, okay? That's just how it is, unfortunately. Now, let's go on to the next one, was updates on the fleet command and marketplace. He was very excited for marketplace, which seems to be the next big thing that's coming in Staratlas. Because I estimated Fleet Command to be about 3 years out, but he said it's actually a lot closer than that. So he was saying a marketplace with local fee markets as well as multiple bids. That's going to be very interesting. I brought this up that couldn't this be kind of like, spoofed, right? So if I have $1,000, I can say, I want to buy $999 of that, $900 of that, $800 of this, $800 of this. So all of a sudden, this $1,000 has turned into $100 million or $10,000, because it doesn't stop you. You can put that same money in multiple different markets. And all of a sudden, all of our markets are propped up with kind of, I would say, fake liquidity or spoofing, or kind of, maybe spoofing isn't the right word, but it's not being honest in the markets where the liquidity is actually not there. So you're going to be double counting so many things so many times. You know what I mean? And that could cause problems down the road. Okay, that's all it is. Because if you got $1,000 and this person sells it, all of a sudden all your other things that you had bids on just disappear off the market, right? And that's not good. You need the market to be stable. But anyway, I'm not an expert in these economic, functions, so I'm sure this is an experiment that the team will try. Again, that he could be the same thing. He could be in the darkness. He could think this is a really great idea now, and later on he finds out, oh no, that was a terrible idea. There's no way of knowing until he does it. Okay, so yeah, give him the room. Let him do it. That was Flip Command, and then the future of Sage. We talked about that slightly. So if you haven't seen this, I would really recommend going to see it. Now, the second thing as well, if you don't want to watch the whole thing, I managed to use some AI, and I cut up into little shorts. So I've got little shorts that are going to be coming out every so often, around every 3 or so days, that come out, and then you'll be able to at least get an idea of what he's saying. So here are some shorts that are coming out now. You see this? There's a few. They're all scheduled. They're going to be coming out every 3 days, give or take. All right, let's move on, my friends. Let's talk about a community member, Starfinity Digital. I want to thank him for giving me an intro of Aethia as well as myself. I really, really appreciate it. Sometimes community members are really nice, you know. You have a specialty or a skill that it'll take you 5 minutes to do something. And if it can make someone happy, you go ahead and do it. So for those people like that, I really, really thank you for that. And sometimes, you know, you go on Freelancer or something, someone's going to charge you $100 to do this. So I just want to play it with you. Tell me what you think. Right on. So that was really nice. I like it a lot, but the thing I don't like about it is my face on the damn best content creator thing. I don't know what happened, but I don't know how they got this image. It must have been from like my Twitter profile or my LinkedIn or something. I'm not a fan of this picture. It's like off center for one, right? And the quality isn't good for two. But yeah, we just talked about it now. The picture doesn't matter as much, you know. It's the content that got me there. It's the award that got me there. But yeah, so I'm very thankful for that. Let's watch the next one that he gave me, which is a background Aethia one. Now that one's not bad, my friend. It's very clean, it's very crisp, it's gentle. I wish it had some subtle tones of like upbeat, like doom 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 doom, some kind of like techno thing in the little background or something. Yeah, something like that. But it's still very nice. So I think I might use this every so often. There is one already that I do use. I don't know if you guys remember it. This is the one. Let me bring it up here. Here, this is the one I currently use for most of my videos. This is the 15-second one, and I've put this down into a 4-second version, which makes it much, much nicer. I like quick intros, they're much better. So this whole thing has been 15 seconds, right? But then there is the 4-second one. That's it. Clean, nice, simple. I think I like it when it's 4 or 5 seconds. So yeah, those are the ones I used before. I'll use his new one. Thank you very much, man. I really appreciate it. Now, let's go on to the staratlas DAO. The two top proposals, PIP 1 and PIP 2, have officially passed. I wonder what you voted in. Let's go and have a look at the community consensus. So we had 28% saying no, 67% saying yes, and 3.5% abstain. So unfortunately, there's still double the amount of people saying yes than there is no. That's democracy, right? You got to say that's democracy. Even if they're voting, if they're not fully aware of what they're voting on, they've voted, right? Even if they're not, you know, they're not up to date on everything, or they disagree slightly with one thing, but they still want to make it pass, like to move the process along. That's democracy. That's voting. Yeah, and I was one of those guys. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna vote yes on this because this is something people have wanted for a long time. Yes, it's not perfect. We can change it later on down the road, like make an amendment, for example. Yeah, that's one of me. Now let's go to the next one, which was the Staratlas Foundation, establishing the Staratlas Foundation. This was 56% with a higher amount of people. I'm going to take myself away so you can see. With a much, much higher amount of people, 39% saying no. So wow, that's crazy. That's crazy, right? So that's a very high number. There's not a lot of times where you get nearly 40% of people disagree on something and then it still passes. We have abstain at 4%. But yeah, I didn't realize it was that high. So this is about the foundation, mostly probably about the $100,000, give or take, and that there was anonymity behind it and people didn't know who this person or people were, right? Yeah. I'm okay with it. I talked to Michael about this previously. Maybe not myself, maybe Metaverse Nomads, but they're not trying to rip us off. If they were trying to rip us off, Automata or staratlas, if they were trying to rip us off, they would have done it in much better ways than this. Like I said, they would have released a PFP, character PFP for $100 million, $1 million, $2 million, and then say the project isn't going to go ahead anymore because we've hit snags and we didn't get the amount that we wanted as part of the game you play, you know? So yeah, there's lots of different ways they could rip us off. This is not it, okay? So for me, I'm okay. Now, the next thing that's going to be coming out for voting is both the Staratlas Council as well as the Ecosystem Fund. Now, the Council, I still haven't made up my mind if I want to go on it. I don't think I should go on it, but then again, those people who don't want power usually are the people who are best in power, and the people who seek power are those who are corrupted by power. General quotes, I don't know who said them generally, but you get the idea. And then, sorry, this is fun. This is very interesting because this is what I talked to Michael about. He said that there is a third-party company out there who are likely, I think I made conjectures and then he kind of confirmed them. Basically, the idea was the rental program is by third parties, right? But they would also like to use the Staratlas Ecosystem Fund to go ahead and develop that. So I think that's why this is such in haste to get up and running. So very interesting stuff. We'll see how it actually turns out. I think this will, of course, vote as well. Vote yes. We're not going to stop it. It's a freight train moving in front of staratlas. You're not going to get ahead of it and get bulldozed over. No. Okay, my friends. Now, before I keep talking too much, before we get to that 20-minute mark, I want to do a very small refresh on small player tutorials. If you are a small player right now, you need to know this, okay? So you are most likely losing money if you have a scanning fleet that is less than $200. You are still also losing money if you have a scanning fleet that's worth $500, okay? The only time you're making money when you're scanning is if you have a fleet value of possibly about $1,000, okay? So this is, for example, 1.5 Visas Opods or a Fimblebios Ranger or 9 Rainbow Cheese. You are just getting 12% if you have 9 Rainbow Cheese. Okay, do you have 9 Rainbow Cheese? Are you scanning? You're very much likely losing money. Okay, you've got to be very careful with this. Now, this calculation is actually, keep in mind, this is going to scan and then selling the SDUs on the market. Okay, that's one way. That's how this is calculated. But let's say you don't sell your SDUs on the market. Let's say you go and upgrade your SDUs to something else, okay? Upgrade some starbases. So that's the scanning part. Let's go ahead and see the upgrading profitability. So that's crafting. This is upgrading starbases. I'm going to zoom in so you can see much better. So this is upgrading starbases, right? So let's type in here. You can see here, number 7 is survey data units. So let's see here what your return ROI is, just behind me here, right? So your ROI is here, right? 85% if you're actually using SDUs to go and upgrade starbases. So that's much, much better than the loss. It's possible you might say, okay, I know I'm scanning it at a loss, that minus 20% loss. But if you go ahead and use that SDU and go and upgrade a starbase, that's 85%. So 85 minus 20%, all of a sudden you got 60%, maybe even 50% ROI, right? I'm sure that the percentages don't work like that. Don't work that simply, of course, because it's percentages, but there is room to maneuver. Okay, I hope you understand that. Now, of course, the whole idea between this ROI is also because it's a compounded yearly kind of figure. You can't go and put in SDUs every single second, every single day, every single time to actually compound that figure. So you also have to calculate that on top of it. Now, that's the thing. That's one of the quotes I always say. There's lies, there's damn lies, and then there's statistics. Okay, so a lot of this stuff can be very nuanced without you understanding one aspect or another. You could get things wrong, okay? And I get things wrong all the time. I'm not Jesus, right? Definitely. I don't think I am. But what I'm saying is there is room to move, okay? So let me tell you what about mining. Now, there's the only good thing that people should be mining, give or take, if you're selling on the market, is kind of like hydrogen. Even for a small player with $200 net, $200, you're losing money. Your ROI is minus 24%. let's go to if you've got $1,000, your ROI then comes up a little bit more. Let's have a look. Here we are, come here. Your ROI is 15%, right? If you're mining hydrogen, 15%, and you're selling it on the market. Now keep in mind, that's one loop. You're mining that item and then you're selling it immediately, that raw base material. Sometimes there is benefit in crafting something to either go and sell that item or either to upgrade that item in a starbase. That's where the more returns are. So it's very, very unlikely, very low returns for you to just go and mine something and sell it right away. You have to do something with it. But of course, you're restricted by how much crew you have, by how much capacity you have, by how much freighting you have. So it's very difficult. You got to find a little niche that works for you and then go ahead and do it. So that's mining, right? Now, I'm into crafting at the moment. I've only got 163 crew, so I'm actually trying to compound this a little bit more. Now, crystal lattice is something I've been looking at because the ROI is very high, but the liquidity is actually still pretty low. It gives you a lot of profit per crew, 18 atlas per crew, which is very good, right? But I think I will stick to fuel at the moment. As you can see, it still gives you a 58% ROI, and it gives you 6 atlas per crew, but the liquidity is huge. Everyone needs fuel. Wherever you're going, you need fuel. That's why the market is so deep, because if you're scanning, you need fuel. If you're going to mine something, you need fuel. If you're freighting something, you need fuel, right? So yeah, everyone needs it. So it's a most valuable commodity, I would say. And that's why the liquidity is so deep. So I'm going to stick with that because I know it's safe. I'm happy making a stable 58% return instead of risking something on 95% return when there is no liquidity, where I may not be able to realize something for a week, and all of a sudden that return is actually like 50% or 40% because I couldn't sell something to compound it in time. I hope that makes sense, right? Yeah, so that's the crafting. Now, not much difference between the 200 crafting and 500 crafting and 1,000 crafting, because it's just about the speed of it, right? It's just about the speed. So let's have a look here. ROI is 172 for crystal lattice. Fuel is probably still 56%. I'm very happy with a stable 56% increase, stable 56% ROI. Very, very happy. Okay, my friends, that's 20 minutes. I want to stop there. Make sure you watch the staratlas interview I did with Michael Wagner. Happy 3rd anniversary to all of the people in Aephians, my friends, my family. And lastly, shout out to everyone in staratlas. Thank you very much for being with me here. And lastly, I didn't actually cover Cataclysm, which was one of the big things I wanted to chat about. Cataclysm.
Welcome everybody to our special event. We are celebrating our 3rd anniversary here.
Very good.
The hand that Funcracker has here.
Gwent 5. I don't know if you've seen it. Gwent was a game. Very, very nice and polished. Very nice. And it gives me the same.
Most of the cards will have.
So
cards. Well, actually, let me just toss this out and see if I can get.
Very cool. I was so impressed.
Aha, this is another one-time effect. A nice one at that.
Small bug in there, but the amount of function they've been able to put in.
Let me just keep this and let's see what we're doing. So I discarded 1 card. I can go up to 3, but I won't. So I will just say done drawing, and then my opponent, of course, is doing the same at the same time.
Now, lastly, the big thing for this is later on, not now, but later on when they're able to actually connect this to a Web3 wallet, and you can only play the cards in your wallet, right? Or the assets in your wallet. That's when things start getting a bit heavy, okay? But of course, there has to be heavy incentivization to do this. What are you going to win? What are you going to play with friends, bragging rights, etc. So very, very good stuff. Very, very good.
And then when we're all set,
and lastly,
in this case, Valken can open the game. So he's the first person who's going to play a card.
I've lost 12 subscribers in the last 28 days. I don't want Star Atlas.
Of course, she has to read carefully what to play. This is really a great card.
I keep losing people very, very easily.
This specific card has an ability that allows you to pull all other similar ships from your deck. And there are 3 of these cards in the deck. And he didn't have any other one in his hand, so there were actually 2 cards pulled from the deck. And he has 12 points in small ships right away, which is